The Dominion's armies, proud and cruel, broke within hours. Their command bunkers were shattered by human artillery that fell with the weight of mountains. Survivors reported the silence of humanity's advance. No war cries, no boasts, only relentless fire and precision. It was as if Earth's soldiers were not men but executioners. In orbit, Dominion fleets rushed to intercept. They never stood a chance. Human dreadnoughts moved like leviathans, their cannons firing beams that sliced ships apart in single strokes. Carriers released swarms of drones, intelligent, coordinated, merciless. The Dominion admiral who once mocked Earth tried to broadcast defiance. His transmission ended mid-sentence, his flagship split in two by a single shot. World after world fell, not simply bombarded but dismantled. The humans were not waging war, they were delivering judgment. Ashes and silence, the lesson learned. When it was done, the Dominion was no more. Their fleets were ash. Their fortresses crumbled. Their colonies burned as Haven Reach once had, but with one difference. Humanity spared none of their leaders. Every commander, every admiral, every ruler who had celebrated Haven Reach's destruction was found and erased. The galaxy watched in horror. The broadcasts that once carried Dominion laughter now carried silence. Neutral worlds whispered in fear. Rivals adjusted their policies with trembling hands. Even the Council of Species, once eager to mock Earth, dared not speak against them. Because the message had been delivered, not in words, not in negotiation, but in action. Humanity's patience had limits. Their mercy had boundaries, and once crossed, their vengeance was infinite. The last transmission from Earth, sent after the Dominion's annihilation, echoed through the stars for centuries. There will be no next warning. Final echo, fear across the stars. The survivors scattered Dominion refugees, merchants who fled before the storm, even species that had once laughed at humanity's silence, all carried the same tale. They spoke of fleets that blotted out suns, of dreadnoughts whose guns roared like Judgment Day, of human soldiers who descended like storms, their visors cold, their silence louder than any battle cry. They spoke of Earth's vengeance. And everywhere they told the tale, one truth followed. Never provoke Earth again. For though humanity may be slow to anger, their retribution burns across worlds. Their patience may stretch like eternity, but when it ends with fire. The galaxy understood now. Silence did not mean weakness. It meant the storm was gathering. And when the storm broke, nothing survived. They came without hesitation, without fear, and most of all, without warning. The Zalrek Dominion, a species known for their predatory expansion and merciless conquest, chose their target carefully. At least they thought they did. Humanity had only been on the galactic stage for 2 centuries. Compared to the 1,000-year empires of the stars, Earth was considered a newcomer, tolerated only because it played the role of diplomat and trader. To the Zalrek, that meant weakness. On the quiet edge of the Vega Corridor, a human colony thrived. Not a fortress world, not a military bastion, just families, farms, and trade ports. The Zalrek Armada swept in at dawn's cycle. Plasma fire rained across the skies, burning homes, silencing children's laughter and turning forests to ash. Civilians tried to flee, but escape lanes were blockaded. Cargo freighters were disabled, then towed back only to be broken apart. The Zalrek commander broadcast one simple message across the collapsing colony's networks. No warning, no mercy. This is Dominion. To him, it was nothing more than a demonstration, a reminder to the galaxy that the Zalrek reigned unchallenged. To humanity, it was the murder of innocence. And yet the commander celebrated. His ships hovered above smoldering ruins. His soldiers marched captives through the streets in chains, and his voice echoed across the conquered colony. "You are fragile. Earth will kneel or Earth will burn." Mockery across the stars. News traveled fast. In the great galactic forums, the Zalrek appeared triumphant. Their ambassadors mocked humanity's silence, turning grief into spectacle. "The humans speak of laws, of councils, of diplomacy," they sneered, "but when their blood spills, they cower." Some species nodded in agreement, relieved that humanity, with all its potential, had been put back in place. Others whispered warnings, for they had studied Earth's history, wars of fire and attrition, revolutions that shattered empires, a pattern of patience followed by unstoppable wrath. But the Zalrek did not listen. They broadcast footage of human prisoners marched before alien courts. They mocked the faces of human children, bewildered and terrified. They boasted that Earth was civilized, restrained, and unwilling to risk all-out war. The galaxy watched. Some pitied humanity, some pitied the Zalrek. But humanity stayed silent. And that silence was the loudest sound of all. The silence breaks. It began with a signal. A deep, resonant transmission cut across the galactic networks, calm, measured, and final. It carried no flourish, no theatrics, only words that froze the blood of anyone who heard them. "Zalrek Dominion, you have taken lives under the shadow of peace. You have claimed no warning. You were correct. This is your only one." Then came movement. Fleets that had never been charted surged from slipspace. They did not crawl from Earth's orbit like reluctant soldiers. They erupted from every corridor of space like a tidal wave. Dreadnoughts painted black, carriers larger than Zalrek cities, destroyers that moved in disciplined silence. Galactic tracking stations lit up, alarms blaring. Entire systems reported fleets of human warships mobilizing from hidden stations. It wasn't just a response, it was preparation, centuries deep. The Zalrek scoffed at first. "Numbers don't win wars," they said, "power does." Then the comms filled with more human signals. Commanders speaking in cold unison. Admirals issuing battle orders not in panic, but in precision. "No quarter, no hesitation, execute final warning." And across the stars, silence fell once again, because the galaxy realized Earth had never been unprepared. The sky turned to fire. The first counterstrike fell on the Zalrek fleet above Vega. Human dreadnoughts emerged without fanfare, weapons already primed. The Zalrek commander laughed, boasting that his warships were hardened against anything. His laughter ended when the stars themselves seemed to collapse. The flash of Earth's spinal cannons, beams that tore through his fleet like paper, igniting fuel cores, shredding armored hulls, erasing entire wings of cruisers before they could even turn to flee. There was no banter, no exchange of insults, no battle. It was execution. Human dropships descended through the atmosphere like storms given flesh. Armored battalions poured out, not soldiers of desperation but of precision. Every Zalrek soldier who had chained a human child was dragged screaming into the dirt. Every prison camp was breached, every wall torn down. The colony was liberated within hours. Survivors wept as their chains were broken, while the Zalrek who had once paraded through their streets were silenced in ash. And then humanity did not stop. The Second Fleet surged toward Zalrek border worlds. Carriers unleashed swarms of strike craft that blackened skies. Orbital bombardments reshaped continents, plasma and rail fire carving scars visible from space. The Zalrek defense fleets tried to resist, tried to boast of their pride, their traditions of conquest, but pride does not stop a storm. Humanity's fleets did not fight for glory. They did not fight for conquest. They fought for vengeance. Cold, surgical vengeance. Zalrek's strongholds, once considered unbreakable, were ground into dust. Their supply lines were severed with surgical strikes. Their command stations were silenced before orders could even be issued. The galaxy watched in awe, in horror, in disbelief. For millennia, empires had waged wars of attrition, slow campaigns of conquest. Humanity fought like no other species. Humanity fought to end. And everywhere the message repeated, broadcast into the void. This is your final warning. The Dominion shattered. The climax came not in one system, but in all of them. The Zalrek homeworld, once thought untouchable, was encircled by human fleets. Entire constellations were choked with Earth's warships. They blocked suns with their numbers, an armada so vast that even ancient species trembled. The Zalrek High Council pleaded, insisting that humanity would not dare destroy a capital world.